It's 2025. I've been coding professionally for almost 5 years now, and recently I've been relying more and more on AI. Am I becoming a better developer, or am I becoming more of a vibe coder? I use Copilot, I use Cursor, also ChatGPT, and they're amazing. Genuinely, they've saved me hours of time, or sometimes even days of work, but they've also started making me a little bit lazy. And that is something we need to talk about. What is vibe coding? So there's this term I've been seeing a lot recently. It's even hit my LinkedIn feed, and it's called vibe coding. It's when you're coding based on vibes, not the principles, not the understanding, just letting the suggestions roll in and saying, yeah, sure, that looks right. You open Copilot, you type a comment, and it fills in a function for you. And if it doesn't work, you essentially keep prompting and prompting until you get some code that works. Sometimes it works, but more often than not, we're building things now that we don't fully understand. And a good concept is, it's like building IKEA furniture. If you build it without the manual, you're going to be surprised when things don't fit together. Gone are the days where we read documentation or scroll through Stack Overflow to help or debug to find a solution. I've caught myself doing this constantly. I'll be working on a feature, and instead of thinking it through, I'll prompt Cursor or Copilot and then just accept the answer. 9 times out of 10, it works, but then the bug hits, or I need to change something, and suddenly I'm staring at a block of code that I didn't really write and that I don't understand. The first example I want to give is writing unit tests for my habit tracker app that I made a video on not too long ago. And the unit tests didn't work because of some of the weird logic that didn't make sense. So in essence, I actually spent more time refactoring the logic to get the unit test to work, and in doing that, I uncovered some edge cases which I didn't test for or didn't expect, which then I can then test for. And I've got another example where I was debugging some really simple authentication flow. Copilot had scaffolded most of it for me, and I realized I didn't actually know what the refresh logic was doing or if it was even working at all. I didn't even know it was secure. I just assumed it was fine because Copilot gave it to me. And that scared me a little bit because we're entering an era of copy and paste developers. I don't want to be the kind of developer who just pastes code and hopes that it works. And I think this is the quiet problem no one really wants to admit, or that they can't see yet. These tools are making us faster and more productive, but they're not making us better. I think new developers are skipping the fundamentals. They're not learning how to debug, how to reason through architecture, or understanding why one pattern may be better than another. Even mid-level and senior engineers like myself are at risk of letting those skills fade. It's like going to the gym. If you don't stretch that muscle, over time you get weaker and eventually lose it. The danger isn't that AI will replace developers. The danger is that we will become code editors instead of engineers, that will stop asking why and only care about what works right now. So, how do we fix this? How do we use these tools without letting them use us? And here's where I've started changing how I use AI. Number 1 is code first, then ask AI. When I hit a problem, I try solving it myself before I even open Copilot or ChatGPT. Then I compare. I ask, what did it do differently and why? Number 2, treat AI like a senior dev, not a vending machine. Don't just take the code it provides. Ask for explanations, ask for trade-offs, ask for alternatives. If you treat it like a mentor, you'll learn way more than if you treat it like a shortcut, because you're taking the time to understand the code that you're using. And number 3, review every suggestion like it's a PR from a stranger. Seriously, don't trust it blindly. Check assumptions, test for edge cases, add comments, and treat it like you didn't write it, because honestly, you didn't. So to round it off, AI isn't going away, and it shouldn't. It's not the villain here. It's one of the most powerful tools we've ever had in our tool belt. It's helped me solve bugs way quicker than if I were to sit and debug into the night. But we've got to remember what makes a great developer. It's not about the speed, it's not about having the fastest autocomplete, it's the ability to solve problems, to think critically, and to make good decisions, even when there's no one there to suggest the next line of code. I think the devs who will thrive in the next 3 to 4 years won't be the ones who rely on AI the most. They'll be the ones who understand it the best, who know when to trust it, when to question it, and how to learn from it. Gone are the days when we sit until the night debugging code and searching through Stack Overflow solutions. If you felt like this too, like you're vibing your way through more and more of your day, let me know in the comments down below. I want to hear your take and how you're balancing AI with actual growth as a developer. So something came up while I was editing this video, and it's a topic that I want to touch on. So how do I use it professionally? So as a software consultant, I work across a range of different tech stacks for whatever the client needs. My main tech stack is React and Node.js, but I've also worked with PHP, .NET, C#, handlebars for like HTML, SAS as a pre-compiler for CSS, but I've used that quite a lot actually, to be honest. But essentially, when you're switching between different languages and different frameworks, a developer doesn't know all of that, and I think that's where AI comes in handy, because you can prompt it to help you. So instead of using it as an autocomplete and not understanding what it's generating, asking it to generate something and then understanding what it's generated for you can help. And that's how I use it in my day-to-day job. If I'm writing a function, I'll write it first. If it doesn't work, I'll try something else. And then usually the third time I'll put it into AI and I'll create a prompt around it. And then by that time I'm starting to understand how things work and how it comes together. And if this resonated with you, maybe give the video a like and share it with someone who needs to hear it.